Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. I have had a lovely morning this morning. I have worked on getting a video ready to go up. I hope to get to publish it today. I've gone and picked up Coco, and let me tell you, she was so excited to see her mama. She came and jumped all over me and loved all over me, and then she jumped right in the car. She had missed me. I was really happy. Got home today and did a little straightening, having a house full of company for the weekend. You do have a few things to do. So I got the guest room, the sheets changed and the guest room put back together. Got the air mattress deflated, ready to put it back in the closet, and put all the laundered towels away. And so the house is sort of back in order. And then I sat down to stitch. And I had to catch up my bingo call from yesterday because I didn't want to stitch Nativity while I was sitting around a table talking to a bunch of people, and then I was too tired. I had mentioned in my video, my last little segment that I did on my video I'm about to upload, that I was going to try to do this last night. And by the time I got through recording and straightening up my desk and getting it ready where I could stitch, I was tired. And I decided that wasn't going to work. So I did it today. And I'm talking about the Teresa Wentzler version of Nativity, which is beautiful. And I am loving it. It's just one of those that you have to pay a lot of attention to when you're working on it. And today for my bingo game, I put in 104 stitches. And I did just what I said I was going to do. I worked on the angel's wings. And I worked on this side in color, completed 2 colors, and I went with the same colors and color completed those 2 colors over here as well. I only have 3. I have 3 colors remaining, and most of those are down below this sash. So there's another section of the sash I need to go ahead and stitch because that wing actually goes all the way down in here. In this side, the wing is behind Joseph more so it doesn't show as much. But I would love to be able to finish up the 2 wings the next time that I work on it. So they'll be ready for back stitching. Wouldn't that be exciting? I bet they really pop when that happens. So you'll get to see this again next month for sure because it's Christmas in July next month. So I will pull it out and I will stitch on it again. But for my bingo game, 104 stitches was what I needed, and that's what I took. This is my bobbin box for it. I've shown you this before, how many colors it has. And a good portion of those are blends. So anyway, I'm going to put this away now. And the next call that's for today, what I'm supposed to be working on today for my whip go board, is a whip closest to a finish, and I am really in a quandary about what to do with this. I don't really have a whip close to a finish. None of them are close to a finish. I have finished everything that I could push to a finish. I don't even have something that if I were to work on it a day or 2 that it would be finished. I mean, I'm smack dab in the middle, or maybe in 2/3 of a way through something, and so I really don't have one that's close to a finish. So I'm just going to have to pick one that is a little bit further along maybe than some others, and work on it for 100 stitches. So I think I'm going to take a break, have some lunch, check on Coco. I think she's napping downstairs, and I will be back shortly and hopefully have more stitching to share with you for today. Tonight is a Zoom call, so I need to also think about that and decide, do I want to stitch on something for 100 stitches that I can keep going on to, work on it tonight, or just, what do I want to do? So I will let you know what I decide when I come back and talk with you a little bit later. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Well, I was able to complete my bingo call for today. I was able to get 142 stitches in this project, so I have met my whip closest to a finish, and I'll explain to you how I decided that, which one that was going to be. And so that leaves only one left for tomorrow, and that is a whip of choice. So I will grab a whip tomorrow that helps me meet my final letter on my final acrostic, and I'll consider it my whip of choice, and that way it'll hit both of them. And I will have completed my bingo game and all 3 acrostics, hopefully, tomorrow. But before I go to tomorrow, let's talk about what I stitched today. Today's call, whip closest to a finish. I mentioned to you I was a little confused and befuddled as to how I was going to pick it because I didn't really have anything close to a finish. So I thought about it, and I kept looking over on my clothes rack where I have all my roller frames hanging up, and I saw this one and I thought, oh yeah. This is a hands-on design pattern, and it's called Coastal Holiday, and I've been working on it for a gift for a friend, and I chose it because there are 4 parts to it, and I have finished the first 3, and I am working on the 4th. So I felt like I was at least 3/4 of the way done, almost anyway, and that was probably better than any other whip I have. The rest of them are a halfway or less. So I just felt like this one edged everything else out just slightly, and I picked it up to work on it. Now, it is a Christmas piece, so it will be worked on next month, but I still felt like it was the best one for the prompt, so I went ahead and worked on it. And I decided the easiest thing to do would be to work on the lettering. And so I started the word greetings from the sea, and I got G-R-E-E done in at least one color. There's a second color for a contrasting color to show depth in there. And I was just working on the silver color all the way across. So I hit the 142 stitches and decided that's good. Since I'm going to work on this next month, I'll go ahead and put this away and continue working on it in July. But it was enough to meet this prompt for bingo, as well as a letter in my 24 hours of cross stitch, which was for the letter O. And I said that it was an ornament box, and that's how it met the letter O. So now that acrostic is vacation ready, and that's the O in vacation. The only letter I have left in that acrostic is the letter R, and I had originally said I was going to let that be Let Love Rain. So tomorrow, that's what I'm hoping to pull out and work on for at least 100 stitches, because bingo says it's a whip of choice, and I'll just choose Let Love Rain, and I'll put my 100 stitches in it, and it'll knock out both of these. If I can put more in it than that, I will, but tomorrow's a busy day. I have to take Coco, to the groomer, and then my friend Donna and her grandchildren are coming over for dinner, so I'll have to stitch on it somewhere in the middle there. I would also like to possibly go to Hobby Lobby to pick up some floss, but I am thinking there's probably going to be a big sale on that right after the 4th, so I think I'll wait. I think I just talked myself out of it. I'll wait, and I will take care of that on the holiday weekend when they usually put things on sale. So, and that, I think that's at Joann's that they do that, so I'll just wait, do that then. So there you go. That is my bingo stitching accomplished for today. So my precious girl over here and I went for an excursion a few minutes ago, and we had a great time. She had fun reacquainting herself with all the good smells in the neighborhood. And it was kind of warm. I kept trying to get her to wait till it cooled down a little bit, because it's only around 5 o'clock, I guess. Let me see what time. Oh no, it's 5:43, but we left here a little after 5. And I was hoping to wait till about 6. I had actually set an alarm on my phone for 6, so I would take her then, because it would be cooler, but not, anywhere near dark, and so I wouldn't have to worry about that. But it worked out just fine. and she's happy because she got to go when she wanted to go. I told one of my commenters, she talked about she enjoyed my Coco stories, and I said, well, I will tell you one right now. She's sitting here right next to me wanting me to take her for a walk, and she's huffing at me, and I've told her it's too hot, she's going to burn her feet, and she told me she didn't care. Which is true. So that's when we went. We went ahead and went for a walk. So I'm going to put this piece away, and then I'm going to decide what I want to stitch on for the rest of the day, because I'm Zooming tonight and I want something that's easy to do on a Zoom call. So I'll come back either tonight, and if it's too late, I'll come back in the morning and share it with you. So happy stitching, everybody, and I hope to talk with you again really soon. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. It is Tuesday, the 25th of June. Well, my bingo game has ended today. I stitched on my very last prompt for the month, and it was a whip of choice. So I had looked at my other prompts, which were my acrostics, and I had the letter R left in 24 hours of cross stitch for vacation ready. And I had originally decided I would do Let Love Rain on there, but because I'm getting in the mood for Christmas stitching, I'm already starting to think about it, get ready to pack some of it for my retreat in Tulsa. I just felt in the mood to stitch on Santa's house, and there's an R there because it has reindeer in it. So I went ahead and pulled that one out instead this morning, and I stitched on Santa's house. So I made 426 stitches on Santa's house, and I'll remind you of what this Cottage Garden samplings pattern looks like. It's absolutely precious. And I started working last night on my Zoom call. I did a little stitching on it, and I started working up here in the roof, and I found that I had some white stitches in that snowflake in the wrong place. So I started off my stitching session frogging, and then I got all that out, and then I went and put it back in correctly, and then I was able to finish stitching the gray in the roof. And this morning I continued working on it as well, but as you can see, I finished the roof, I finished the white part of that snowflake. So I've made really good progress on this one. I'm excited about it. It's hard for you to see that white, I know. Maybe you can see it better that way in the shadow. But that completes my bingo game for the month of June, and I have a blackout, so that's wonderful. So excited about that. So now, Whip Go numbers came out this morning, and they were 6 and 23, I believe. And looking at my Whip Go board, I've already done those. I only have 4 numbers left to be called for me for Whip Go, and unfortunately, I didn't call any of them. They're all new starts. And they're not Christmas new starts, so I'm not going to worry about doing one of them early. I'll just wait and see what gets called next month. So I don't have a Whip Go challenge for this month. So I decided instead I'll talk to you about my July stitching, because I will be leaving here, going to a retreat in the very near future. My friend Donna and I are going to get to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to the Silver Needle for a retreat, and we are leaving on July 9th to go to that. We are going to drive, so we're going to take a day to drive, and then we start classes on the afternoon on Wednesday, and then we have another class session on Thursday. Then the retreat officially opens on Thursday evening when we meet the designers and see what they've designed for us. And then we have classes with the designers on Friday and Saturday. And then that, I believe, the last class with the designers ends Saturday at 4. So I think Donna and I have decided that we're going to hit the road Saturday, because Donna's got to work the next week and I've got to travel the next week on Monday morning. So we want to get home early as we can on Sunday in order to rest a little bit before we start our next week. But that's my week coming up. Now, that gives me from July 1st through July 8th here at the house. And then I have the Tulsa trip, and then I have a trip to Alabama the following week. I'm going to visit friends for about 3 days, and then I'm at the North Alabama Stitchers Retreat for that weekend. So I have to have, projects I can carry with me for that week. And then I am back home on July 22nd, and I will be home through the end of the month, as of now, anyway. And so that's awesome. And it did create a little bit of a planning challenge for me, but I think I've got it. Then I want to tell you something else too. I'm in a Zoom group on Monday nights with a few people, and Julie McConnell from Reflections Framing and Stitching is in that group, and she has a Facebook group, a small group of folks that she created a challenge for. They're her stitchers that come to her shop to stitch. And that challenge is called 25/7. They're supposed to put either 25 stitches in a project 7 days a week or 25 minutes, whatever you prefer. I think I'm going to go for stitches. I count stitches anyway. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I can get in the groove of doing something every day. I don't know how I'll respond to that, but I'm going to try it. And you're supposed to stitch on your project until it's finished, which is new for me, to stitch on something every day until it's done. That used to be how I stitched years ago, monogamous, but I don't do that anymore. So that'll be kind of a throwback. We'll see how that goes. But it needs to be a piece that you either have not stitched on in 5 years, or was, if it's a new start, it had to have been published at least 5 years earlier. So I picked one last night, and my friend Donna, who's in that group as well, said, no, that's not challenging enough. We want something challenging for you. This is to help you get a challenging piece done. So I don't have any whips that are 5 years old. So this was, for me, going to be a new start. And so I looked back and said, okay, I had pulled something recently when I started kitting things for next year that I wanted to start on next year. I've had it a long time, had the fabric a long time, just never started it. But since I finished Haunted Mansion, I don't have a Halloween piece going. So I picked Shakespeare's Fairies from Mirabilia. And I'm going to start this July 1st. And no, it's not Christmas. But I'm starting it on Pickled from Picture This Plus. I think that will be pretty. It's kind of a nod back to that green, but it's a little bit less dark, a little more mottled. And I'm looking forward to it. So now I have to get busy. I've got the bead pack for it, but I have not kitted up the floss. And so I have this out today on my desk so that I can kit it up. And I have notes here of things that were corrections off the website that I had pulled a while back. And so I had put it in my bag so I would have it when I was ready to start this beautiful project. So I'm going to be kitting on this today to get it ready for July 1st. And that is what I will be starting for the 25/7. Now, you may not be a part of that group officially, but if you want to join in on your own, please do. Pick a project that you need to put some attention in that you want to finish, and put in 25 stitches a day or 25 minutes a day. Some people do a daily 30, and you're probably already doing that. I'm late to the party on this one. So I am doing that. I did want to mention that. So I think it would be fairly easy to say that I am planning on stitching on all of my Christmas whips. And I have 2 new starts planned for Christmas. One is Père Noël, which is a hands-on design ornament, a Santa ornament. And the other one is a full coverage ornament of the Christmas Village ornaments. And I have chosen which one I want to do. I want to do Rudolph's Tree Farm. And I picked that for one reason. It has a T in it. I was working on acrostics and I needed another T. And I said, well, I know I'm going to start this ornament. And there were two of those that had T's in them. And so I thought this one would be the easier of the two to get started. And so that is how I picked which one of those I would do next. And that's Rudolph's Tree Farm from the Christmas Village Ornaments, which is a Dimensions kit. So that tells you kind of what I'm going to be working on, and gives you kind of what to expect to see in the month of July. I mentioned just a moment ago that since I had finished Haunted Mansion that I needed a Halloween piece on the go, and I got a couple of comments on my video today that I accidentally left out the footage of Haunted Mansion. I'm so sorry. So I will put it in here and let you see Haunted Mansion. Hello everybody, welcome. It is late in the evening on June 18th. It's just after 11 p.m. and I'm about to head to bed with Coco, but I wanted to come on here and talk to you a little bit because I haven't filmed for the last 2 or 3 days because I've been stitching. There is a magazine monthly challenge going on, started on the 16th and it runs to the 23rd. And the challenge was to work on a piece that you've been avoiding. And I've been avoiding Haunted Mansion, my Buttons and Beads Mill Hill kit. And I've explained why I've been avoiding it, because it's on fabric that's too small, 32 count, and it should have been 28 count so that all the beads would have fit. And they didn't fit that well. So I had to work with them. I had to eliminate a few. I had to figure out how to get enough space. There were a couple of places I left an extra thread worth of space when it was all beads. Then I had to fudge on my cross stitches if there were cross stitches, right below it. I had to do some little tiny petite stitches in there. But I got it done. I got it finished, y'all. I did my 500 stitches. Oh, I did my 500 stitches the first day. I actually did 700 stitches the first day. So I did 705 on the 16th, and I could have posted it and been done with it. But it did what I was hoping it would do, and that is that it brought it so close to a finish. I thought that it was really close to a finish, and I decided I'm just going to finish it. I fully expected to finish it on the 17th, but I put in only 420 stitches on the 17th. The 17th was a busy day for me. So today, I did all things Coco for most of the day, except for stitching. So I took Coco over to Pet Pleasers and gave her a bath today. And then I took her to the vet's office because we had an appointment at 3:30 for her to get her nails trimmed. And so it was like her spa day. Only I was the one doing the spa treatment. But that didn't take that long, really. So other than getting a haircut today and taking care of those couple of things with Coco, she and I did our normal excursions, but I've been stitching all day. I actually got up at 8 this morning and started working throughout the house. I did quite a few little chores and then came up here and started stitching. So I have a finish to share with you, and I ask that you be kind about it, because remember, this has been quite a challenge to stitch. I have not enjoyed this stitch. It has not been a great stitch. So I've been thinking about it, and I'm pleased enough with it to be finished with it. I'm not gonna spend any more time on it. I think I've done everything. I think I've done all the back stitching and everything else, but if I've missed anything, that's too bad. I've missed it. So here it is. This is my Haunted Mansion. It's fine. It's not terrible. I was able to try to make it work. However, I don't like it when beads are not perfectly straight. I like my beads straight up and down, and even though I did stitch these full X's, full crosses in those beads, some of them, for whatever reason, because they're crowded, I guess, look a little wonky. But I think I'm done with it. I think it's fine. So it's a lovely piece. It would have probably looked a whole lot better had I done it on a 28 count fabric. It would have been great. But anyway, this is it. Button has been attached. Everything is fine. Everything is finished. Back stitching is complete. So we're good to go. Haunted Mansion. So that was my secret goal. I had mentioned in a couple of comments on my video that I had set another goal for myself after I finished all 7 for June. And I think it was the challenge that did it for me. So thank you, Robin and Carolyn, because I would never have finished this if it hadn't been for that challenge to stitch on something that you've been avoiding. So my Buttons and Beads Mill Hill kit, Haunted Mansion, is complete. I cannot tell you how happy I am to have it done. So what about the other 2? Well, I'm not putting them on this fabric. I'm not doing it. These kits you buy because they come with everything in them. They come with floss and the beads and the, you know, everything you need. And except maybe I think the buttons. I think I had to order those. But anyway, maybe not. Maybe they came with the buttons too. I think they did. Anyway, I am not going to stitch another one on this 32 count fabric and have to order other beads, because the only beads that really fit well on this fabric were the little petite black beads that came with the kit. So that's what I would have needed to get to make them all fit in with my finish. But you know what? It's precious. It's done. I don't know how I'll fully finish it. I don't know whether it'll be a flat fold or whether it's going to be framed. But at any rate, I'm going to put it away for a while. I have not decided fully whether I'll stitch the other 2 or not. I think I need to give it a rest. I think I need to give it some space of time, because this has been a not so pleasant experience, and if I were to just pick up the very next one, I don't know that I would be in the right headspace for that. It might make it unpleasant as well. I don't know. It's fully kitted. All my floss on all 3 of these Mill Hill kits I've put on floss drops, and so you know, they're there, and they're DMC, and the numbers are on there, or DMC numbers. So I'm saving these, and I'm gonna pass the stash at some point, either all of it together before I stitch the other 2, or all of it after I stitch the other 2. We shall see. I threw my working copy away, so there you have it. Now, there are some beads left over. There usually are. And I think what I'm going to do is just put them in a bag labeled Haunted Mansion. And that way, if, you know, if I gift this away, people can see what the beads look like. And so, makes it easy if they've got some samples of what is called for. Anyway, I'm tickled, very tickled that it's done, and happy that I got it finished this month. So, I'm glad I powered through it. I'm glad I did. I really am. And now I have a finish. And so I will post it in the Magazine Monthly Challenge group and thank Carolyn and Robin again for doing that challenge. So I will see you the next time I have something to share with you. Thanks for letting me tell you about my finish. Well, I can't tell you how happy I am that one is completed. And now it's made way, for Shakespeare's fairies. So how awesome is that? Well, I'm going to say goodbye for right now. And Coco's at the groomers. And I can let you in now on a little secret. She's getting pretty and fancied up for her daddy coming home. So I don't like to say anything when my husband's gone while he's gone. I don't like to reveal, that I'm here by myself out into the world. But my husband went on his hike on the AT Trail, and he left here 3 weeks ago, I guess. And within a few days, his hiking buddy had to go home. He has a heart condition, and apparently he has not kept in active status for the last year. He had not done much hiking, if any. I think he had been on one hike in the year. And he had not prepped any for this hike. My husband had been walking Coco with his backpack loaded down with water bottles, to be the same weight that he thought he'd be carrying. He did that for weeks before he went on his hike to get used to carrying the weight on his back. And his friend did not do anything to get ready. And so they went out, they got started on their hike, and the very first night I got a message from my husband that he was worried about his partner, that he felt like he had not maintained his fitness and he was struggling. And by day 3, he had struggled a lot. They had to get off the trail early. They had to go into hotels for him to rest. It was not going well. And by day 4, he had told my husband at dinner the evening of their 3rd day or 4th day that he was going home the next day. He had made flight arrangements and had already talked to his wife to pick him up at the airport, and he was going to have to bail. And I hate that. I hated it for him, and I hated it for my husband, because now my husband's by himself and he's behind his schedule. So he hiked really hard in the next day or 2, but he caught up to where he had planned to be, because he had planned out the whole hike with where they were going to stay, what shelter they would hike to, and when they would get off trail. And he had mailed packages of food to himself at post offices that he needed to pick up, and that's how he resupplied. And so he had to get there in order to pick that up. So within a couple of days, Tommy was back on track and he had things going. And fortunately, there are people on the AT Trail all the time. It wasn't like he was out in the middle of the wilderness by himself. He saw people every day, and he ran into a guy. They kept leapfrogging each other, he said. He's a thru hiker, and they got to chatting and talking, and they wound up at a hostel the same night and wound up slack packing, which is, if you're not familiar with it, I wasn't. You take everything out of your pack, or you take a little pack out and just put food and water for the day, and you hike as quickly and as far as you can, and then you have someone drive you back to your hotel to pick everything back up. And the next day someone drives you as far as you got to, and you start again. So you actually go out ahead of yourself and hike backwards, or you have someone pick you up at the end and bring you back to the hotel, or bring your pack to you. Tommy did both. He went out ahead and slack packed back to the hotel, and then they drove him back to where he had left off the day before. And he has also gone and hiked forward and had the person at the hostel he was staying at bring him his backpack. So, you pay them to shuttle you around, and but it worked out. It worked out really well, and he was slack packing as much as he could to catch up and do extra mileage so that he could make a really good, distance this time. his buddy has let him know that he has been to the doctor and he's talked with his family, and he will not be joining my husband on the AT trail in the future. His wife has determined with him that they will take their travel trailer, and he will slack pack whenever he hikes, and he'll slack pack to a point where she will pick him up and he'll stay in the trailer, their travel trailer, overnights. So he will not be sleeping on the trail. He will not have to put up a tent, and it'll be much easier for him. But she wants him to be able to finish because he wants to finish the trail. But he won't be finishing it with my husband, so that's unfortunate. That's kind of a fun thing they had looked forward to together, and I think they had hoped to summit together, and it's not going to happen. But I'm glad my husband persevered, and I'm really, really thankful that he was able to do that, because I think by the time he came off the trail today, he was very proud of his accomplishment, and he felt comfortable in his progress, and so that was awesome. So that's good news, and that means that tomorrow evening I get to pick my husband up. I have my friend Juliana coming over to stitch tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. And then I go tomorrow night and I pick up my hubby at the train station. He'll grab the Martyr when he gets to the airport, and he'll ride the Martyr all the way out to North Springs, and I'll pick him up there. And by the time you see this, he will have been home for several days. So I figured I could go ahead and put it in the video at this point. But I've asked my husband to please work on some video, put together a little clip or so of his hike. And he said, well, I never even finished the one from my last hike. And I said, well, put them together. I want to share it. I want to share it with my friends. So I hope to have that in the near future. We shall see. Anyway, that's all the news from here, and I am going to get busy, get some more crafting done. Happy stitching, everybody. What you doing? Huh? What you doing? Giving me hugs? You giving me hugs? Hey, sweet girl. I like your new haircut. Thank you for the hug. Thank you. Coco's going to have a very happy evening tonight because her daddy's coming home. She doesn't know it yet. Yeah, come here. Come here. Come over here. Come over here. Come on up here so everybody can see you. Come on. Good girl. Yeah, Coco had a new haircut yesterday, and she had a new groomer, and so we're really happy about Leah. She's a new groomer. Our groomer left the hospital there, and so they weren't sure how long it would take them to find another groomer, and so I was on the frantic search for a groomer for Coco, and the soonest anybody could see her was July 30th, and so yeah. So this lady, when she called me from the hospital, they had hired a new groomer, and she reached out and was calling their regular clients and letting us know that she was there, and wanting to meet Coco if we wanted her to meet her. And I said, well, I want to do more than that. I want you to meet her, and I want you to groom her so we can see how that goes. And she did a great job. I really like the way she groomed her. And I'm sorry she won't look at you so you can see her pretty face, but I'll put a picture in of her. Yeah, I will. I'll put a picture in of her sitting over in her chair. I took one earlier to send to my husband. He's coming home tonight, but when I got her groomed yesterday, he wanted to see what she looked like, so I did take a picture of her. That's my girl. You're my girl. So let me tell you a little bit about my stitching today. I know that in July I'm going to be doing Christmas stitching, but I do have some things that I always know I'm going to work on, and one of them is my Snow and Mountains. I have a monthly amount that I want to stitch every month in order to finish it by the end of the year. And so today I was looking at what do I want to stitch on? What do I want to stitch on? And I decided that rather than just do stitching to be stitching on something, I would rather be stitching on something that I need to stitch on. So I pulled out my Snow and Mountains. This will remind you of what it looks like. And I needed to work on the July section. I figured I'd get it started. So the July section is this middle block, is the top half of that middle block there. And I stitched with my friend Juliana today, and as it turned out, I finished the July section today. I was so excited. So I actually did more because the July section ends about right here. It's this top portion. But I went ahead, while I had all the greens out, I went ahead and stitched the whole heart. Now there's a cake underneath here, but it's definitely in the next section down. As you can see, this is where the section would normally end. But I did that. I stitched this whole heart. I stitched all of these little designs that are supposed to be, I guess, in the wallpaper behind it. And then I brought this divider in the wallpaper down to the break where it would be the end of that section for that month. And so July's section is done. Now, that does not mean that I won't stitch on it again, because I had wanted to give 3 days of each piece if I could. I wanted to give them 3 days. Whether I do or not on this one, since I've already got the whole section done, that, you know, if I get more time to stitch on it, that's just going to be a bonus. But I've at least got the July section complete. And so I know with all the traveling that I have, I was worried that I was going to run short on some of these big pieces, especially the ones on the roller frames, because I can't take them with me as much. So I was delighted to get that done. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this part of it so much. This is the pretty part. This is with all the colors and stuff. So it's much easier to do. So I got that done this morning. Now, I had to go, I kitted up my project that is going to be my July 1st start, which is my Mirabilia here. That is my Shakespeare's Fairies. I kitted it up this morning, and when I did, I discovered that I was out of several of my flosses because I've kit up quite a bit of things recently, getting ready for what else I might want to stitch this year. And so my friend Juliana, when she got here, and I told her, I said, well, I'm going to try to finish the July section today, except for this one green I'm out of, and I'm out of it in my master set, so I can't grab it and keep going. And she said, well, I need to go to Hobby Lobby. Do you want to go? And I said, yes. So we ran to Hobby Lobby, and we got our shopping done, and I got all the floss that I needed for my master set, and for 2 or 3 other things that I was kitting up where I'm missing one color, I got all of that. And so I am now bobbinating floss this afternoon. So that'll be something I get done today. But this evening, about 6:30, I will leave here and I will go pick up my husband. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see him. And you know who doesn't know yet that he will be home tonight. So she is going to be thrilled to death. But then I thought, well, now once I get all this bobbinated, what am I going to stitch on for the rest of the month? So here's what I was thinking. It's subject to change, but you know, this is what I'm thinking. I have in my group of stitching for July, I have 4 new starts. One is my berry that I need to do 1 a month. And one is for the designer name, Primerose Cottage, because I'm going to a retreat in Alabama, and one of their focus designers is Primerose Cottage, and so they encouraged us to stitch on a Primerose Cottage piece if we had it, and I had one that I hadn't started yet. So I have 4 new starts for the month of July. And I've decided, well, that's just Christmas pieces, plus I've got the Shakespeare's Fairies. So that's 5 new starts that I want to do in the month of July. So what I think I may do is go ahead and take one of these for the next few days and start it, so that when I get ready to stitch it in July, I'll pick up where I left off and I'll stitch rather than having to calculate and start something new, especially if I'm at retreat. So that's my plan. I will go ahead and choose one each day and get it started and put, 200 or 300 stitches in it, maybe, whatever I can, to get a good start on it. And that is going to take me to the end of the month. And that way, when I get ready on July 1st, I'll start my Shakespeare's fairies, and then I can keep stitching on it every day. And then I will start working on my other pieces based on my schedule. So I did make a schedule of what I would stitch on every day of the month, simply because I've told you before, I have to travel to 2 different retreats, and so what I can take with me is, depending on size and all of that. So I wanted to make sure that I touched everything at least 3 times in the month. So there you go. That's what I'm going to plan on doing. So that's all the news for now. I probably won't come back again tonight, since I'm picking up my husband, and we'll be catching up and talking and visiting, with each other. So I probably won't be stitching tonight. So this will be it for the day. So I hope you enjoyed seeing my snow and mountains, and I'm thrilled with how it's coming along. Until we speak again, everybody, happy stitching. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It's the 27th of June, and I'm here today to talk to you about my stitching so far this morning. I had mentioned in my last little segment that for the rest of the month, I might want to just go ahead and get all of my new starts begun, because I'm going to be taking them with me for the most part to retreats, and trying to figure out where to start takes a little bit of concentration for me. So I thought if I could get them all started and just let them have a few stitches in them so I can count off of that when I pick them up to work on them again, then I think that would be very helpful. So I started that this morning, and I picked up my Erica Michaels 12 Days of Christmas Berries, and the one that I'm starting today is 6 Swans Swimming. And this is the 3rd one I'm doing on the pretty blue fabric that I have from, I think it's Mystic Fabrics. But anyway, I'll show you where I got to. So I started in the middle with the swan in the middle. And there's a swan here. There's one on each side turned sideways. And then there's some around the top of the berry like that. So I got the middle swan done, and I did these little flowers. I think that's what they are. I'm not quite sure what all this is as far as why they're green balls, but anyway, I think they're supposed to be lily pads or something floating in the water, because I'm gonna you have a half stitch in the water to designate that they're in the water swimming. So there you go, 249 stitches. I wanted to get 200 in my new start, and by the time I finished, I did the swan first and then the pink stars, because they're about 3 colors, and then I did these 2, and I had 209 stitches. But then all I had left of this motif here was these 2 green lily pads, I guess, circles. So I went ahead and finished those, and that's why I got 249, because there's 40 stitches in those 2 things, 20 each. But that way I have it in a really good spot to count off of for anything I want to do next. Can do the swan on each side and then do the rim around it. But that's a good start to my berry, and I'll be able to pick that back up in July and hopefully finish it in the remaining 2 days that I want to work on it. So yes, I am counting a day of work on my project that I had said I wanted to give them 3 days. I'm going ahead and marking one day off as I'm working on them, because that way it makes me move on to the next thing to get at least 3 days. Now when I get to the end, you know, if I have days left, I'll go back and then try to push things to a finish that are closest to a finish with the extra days. But there you have it. That's what I started on this morning. So my next new start that I want to work on is going to be the Pierre Noel new start, or the Peace on Earth Primrose Cottage new start. I might go ahead and skip down to, on my list I've got Peace on Earth as the last one because I just added it at the end so that I could stitch on the Focus Designer while I'm at the North Alabama retreat. But since I need that for the North Alabama retreat, I think I'll go ahead and skip on down and get it started next. So I'll pull that out and I'll try to get a start on that today. And again, I'm going to aim for 200 stitches. It may be somewhere just short or just over that, because I also try to finish whatever motif I'm working on or get to a good start, you know, good stopping point before I quit. But anyway, so that'll be fun to get another one started today. And then depending on how long it takes me, I'll either stitch on something totally different for this month, or I will do another new start to get them all going. So I'll let you know what I get done today. But for now, I get to check off a day of the berry, which is great. And I made a little chart, what I'm talking about. I made a little chart and I put all my Christmas whips and then my new starts on it. And I've got day 1, 2, and 3 there. So I can check as I go and keep up to make sure I try to get 3 days on all of them. And we'll go from there.
What time is lunch and where? Hey, what you doing, Coco?
Well, I guess you just heard my husband's ready for lunch. So I will let you go, and I will talk to you later this afternoon. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's later on today on the 27th of June. And I do have another new start to share with you. Very excited to do that. So one of the things that I mentioned I was going to try to start today was the Peace on Earth by Primerose Cottage, simply because it is going to be a focused designer at the retreat that I'm going to in North Alabama in just a few weeks. And based on what they did last year, you stitch on that designer's designs, and at some point in the weekend, the coordinator of the retreat will have everybody that's been working on one of those focus designers to come over, and she takes a picture of the whole group. And then she puts it on the Facebook group for the group, but then she tags the designer. So the designer gets to see how many people at the retreat are working on one of their designs. So I think that's very encouraging to a designer to, you know, get a tag saying, hey, look at all these people stitching your design this weekend. I think that's fun. So since I had a Primrose Cottage that was Christmas in my stash, I wanted to stitch on it at the retreat. But as I said earlier, I wanted to put some stitches in my new starts so that I didn't have to sit and calculate everything at the retreat, and I could just pick it up and stitch on it. So let me tell you about this one. This is a fairly small piece. It's not that big. And it's 59 stitches by 28 stitches. 28 tall and only 59 long. So on a 28 count fabric, it would be about 4 1/4 by 2. And on a 32 count fabric, it would be about 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. Roughly 4 by 2. So in my stash, I had picked up a banding at an estate sale at our retreat this past March. There was a lady there who had been a member of our guild for many, many years, and she had a huge stash, and when she passed away, our guild said we would sell her items and give the money for the sales proceeds to the family. There were a couple of young men in the family in their early 20s, and it was a good way to give them a little bit of inheritance in addition to what they might have already gotten. So I found this on the table as one of the things that I could pick up, and it was this banding. Now, this is a wool banding. It's very thick, and it's very sort of scratchy, but not painfully scratchy. Rough would be better, like textured, you know. But it has a pretty little border on the side, and it had just this small strip of it. I don't even know how long it is, because the only thing written on it was the word 30 count. So it was 30 count. So I just marked the center of this, and I started my piece on earth on it because I want to make it a drum. So I'm doing it this way rather than this way. And that way I will have a drum when it's done. And since that is as wide as it, well, no, there's a tree, but I think the tree may be above. Ah, it's right next to. So there's a tree here on the side. So it will be about that big when it gets done, which is a nice size drum. But I think that would just be precious to do. And I don't know if I will have room enough to do another piece, but I'm hoping to, because there's another smaller piece on here, Silent Night. And I could make a drum out of that too, I think, if I wanted to. So if I have enough. But here's my challenge with this piece is I'm having to stitch it in hand. I don't have anything it fits in, not all the way around. I don't have Q-snap that small. I don't think they make them this small. So I had to stitch it in hand, but I wanted to get it started. And so I started it today, and I got 199 stitches in it. And I decided that was close enough to 200. I was trying to get 200 in for my new starts, but 199 was the perfect place to end it because I didn't want to have to do a whole nother letter. So this will say peace, and there's the on already, and then it'll say earth. I had done the tree, and then I came down and did the on, and then I came down and did the little border because I wanted to see that it was going to fit before I stitched all the way across. So once I saw it was going to fit quite nicely on the banding, then I came back up here and did the P simply to get me to the 200 stitches. So there you go. Peace on earth. That's what that one's going to be. And then hopefully, if I'm able to, I will put Silent Night on the other end. And that way I can make 2 drums out of it, which I think will be great. They could, you know, be together in a similar setting. So there you have it. There is a pretty decorative border up here before the scallops. And I was wondering how that would look to put some pretty variegated Christmas floss in. That's red, white, and green. That just goes from red, white to green. I have some of that, and I may do that. Just a straight stitch running through there, not an X, just a straight stitch, like a back stitch running through it, to give it a topper look. I thought about beading it, but I think the variegated floss would be fine. So I will see. This one only has 5 colors in it. And then Silent Night has the same 5 colors, but then it adds just one more color. The little peach color for the baby's face. That's the only extra color in there. So I went ahead and pulled that color because this is going so fast. This is stitching up so quickly that if I take it to retreat and I stitch on it all day, I'm liable to finish it on the first day. And if I do, then I could start Silent Night right next to it. I would want to count it out, but I think it will fit. So we shall see. So I'm going to put this back in my project bag. And I have it now ready to go to my retreat in Alabama. Coming up here on July 15th. I'm leaving on the 15th. We're going to Alabama a few days early to visit friends. And then we'll be at the retreat that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we'll come home Sunday. So that'll be good. So that is my second new start for the day. And I still have a Zoom call for tonight, our planning Zoom call. Now, we'll do a lot of planning this evening. May not get to stitch very much. But I still have two things that I need to start. One of them is the Pierre Noel, and the other one is my Rudolph's Tree Farm, which is the full coverage start. I don't think I'm going to do that today since I've already started two things already. I may leave that for tomorrow. But I think I may pull out Pierre Noel and get him started and just work on him tonight as I Zoom. And then that way I'll have all my new starts ready to go, and I'll feel like I'm really ready to leave for my retreats when they come up. I hope you've had a great day of stitching. I certainly have. My husband got home yesterday evening. I picked him up at the MARTA station about 7:45. We went and had dinner. I think I may have told you this. And then we got home about 9:45. And my puppy was ecstatic. She was spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and then she grabbed her favorite toy for Tug, and then nothing would do but for the two of us to sit with her on her ottoman and let her chew on a toy while we petted her. She just wanted to know we were right there. And then when we went to bed last night, my husband went to bed early, and Coco was up here with me stitching for a little while, and then she went on to bed with him. But when I went to bed a little bit later, she crawled over and snuggled right next to me and touched me all night long. She was, I don't know if she was cold because she got all her hair cut off for her summer do, but I loved it because she snuggled all night long. She didn't move away at all, and I love having her sleep next to me. It's sweet. It's so sweet. So this morning, the three of us went for a nice long walk together, and then I think Coco truly enjoyed that. And then now, my husband took a nap a little while ago because he traveled so long yesterday. He was a little tired, and Coco ran in there and took a nap with him. So I know she's happy having her daddy home and hanging out with him. So I think that's awesome. Happy stitching, everybody. I'll talk to you very soon.